Assalamualaikum to our beloved lecturer, Dr. Aida Hazlin Ismail. Today, our team members will be presenting about an article review of whistleblowing system in an organization. Assalamualaikum, my name is Akram Hamim bin Azmi and I will be presenting about the definition of whistleblowing. So for the definition of the whistleblowing is an act of drawing public attention or the attention of an authority figure to perceived wrongdoing, misconduct, unethical activity within public, private or third sector organizations. Corruption, fraud, bullying, health and safety violation, cover-ups, and discrimination are the common activities highlighted by the whistleblowers. A whistleblower can file a lawsuit or register a complaint with higher authorities, which will trigger a criminal investigation against the company or any individual department. So basically, there are two types of the whistleblowers, which are internal and external. The internal whistleblowers are those who report the misconduct, fraud, or indiscipline to senior officers of the organization, such as head human resource or CEO. While for the external whistleblower is a term used when whistleblowers report the wrongdoings to people outside the organization, such as the media, higher government officials, or police. All employers should adopt a whistleblowing policy that encourages employees to draw attention to wrongdoings or risky behavior. In the case of legal action being taken against a company as a result of internal wrongdoings, having and promoting a strong whistleblowing policy may act in part as a legal defense. So I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, next I will talk about the issue in the article. So we have chosen the article by Amanda Newiller entitled "What do your employees fear most about blowing the whistle?" So the issue discussed in the article is that the action of the employee to remain silent about the problem in the organization can deal a huge impact to the organization itself. So enabling employees to voice their concern is crucial for high performance and innovation. Unfortunately, in many companies, the management continues to silence and disengage their employee. A study of more than 1,600 individuals from 30 organizations found that 93% of people being questioned said that their organization is at risk of an incident waiting to happen because people are either unwilling or unable to speak up. So in the article, it gives several reasons that may cause people to avoid becoming a whistleblower. So let's see the first reason. So the first reason is that employee fear of counterattack from the company. So if the employee talks back about the company, it is very likely that they will receive a reaction from the company. So there may be punishment or action taken towards them by the company. Thus, the employee will silence themselves as they feel that they could get into trouble by speaking out. The employee will tend to avoid any clash with the company, as going into war with the company is not the situation that they will want to get into. Next is the second reason is that employee fear of losing their job. So in relation to the first reason, so one of the action that can be taken towards the employee is to fire them. So nowadays, having a job is very important and losing it will cause a serious problem to the employee. So this situation has caused the employee to develop a sense of fear of being fired for speaking up against their company. So based on a study on the British worker, more than half of the people being questioned state that the fear of losing their job as the reason for them to remain silent. Next, the last reason is that the employee does not want to be bullied or harassed in their workplace. So in many companies, a sense of fear has been instilled among the employees in the concept of whistleblowing, leaving the employee to choose to be quiet or they may be at risk for being socially outcast. So based on a study on the British worker, 1/4 of the respondents choose to remain silent because they are concerned with how they will be treated by their colleague. So furthermore, in most situations, things can go out of control when someone does come forward to raise a concern, and it turns into debate about their personality rather than the fact that needs to be investigated. So this will affect the relationship among the customer, then can lead to bullying and harassment in the workplace. So that's all from me. Next, we go to the next presenter.
Can be discussing about how whistleblowing system in an organization are related to internal audit function. Internal audit has a key role to play in efficient whistleblowing processes, considering the complexities of internal management and other concerns posed by whistleblowers, and the position of internal audit in delivering impartial and reliable guidance, assistance, and assurance to the board. However, there are risks and possible conflict of interest that need to be addressed when deciding the role of internal audit. There is a need in how internal audit is being used in whistleblowing, consider the issues this raises, and develop a policy approach that will inform boards, executive, and heads of internal audit in establishing or developing internal audit role to ensure whistleblowing procedures are effective. Whistleblowing directly related to internal audit because most of the time internal auditors often come into possession of critically sensitive information that is substantial to the organization and poses significant potential consequences. This distinguishes them from many other members of an organization. This information may relate to exposure, threat, uncertainties, fraud, waste and mismanagement, illegal activities, abuse of power, misconduct that endangers public health or safety, or other wrongdoing. These matters may adversely impact the organization reputation, image, competitiveness, success, viability, market value, investment, and intangible asset or earning. Furthermore, internal audit will be a point of contact with the potential whistleblower. Trust in the process is required for successful whistleblowing. Internal auditors can assist with this. When they are seen as an important part of day-to-day arrangement, their independence and objectivity can continue to encourage faith in the whistleblowing process. Internal audit can act as a communication channel for the whistleblowing hotline, coordinating responses. Developed and trusted whistleblowing hotline are expected to experience a growing amount of phone calls and tip-off. In this situation, it is necessary to provide a mechanism for reviewing and prioritizing reports. If the report received can bring harm to the whistleblower, it is internal audit responsibility to keep the whistleblower and the information confidential before reporting it to the authority. It is also important for internal auditor to investigate the report and complaint especially related to fraud and corruption. In case of internal whistleblowing, internal investigation is required to review any suspected case of fraud and corruption. Where appropriate, the employee involved will be contacted and a meeting will be scheduled to further address the matter. Internal meetings will then take place to determine if an investigation is necessary. The following matters will be considered as part of the investigation: the most effective method of investigation and expertise needed, proof and evidence required to justify the concern, if the matter needs to be referred to the police. Based on the importance of the issue and the result, it might be appropriate to advise the chief executive or other parties. The employee involved will be notified of the outcome subject to legal constraint.
So I will continue to explain how can internal auditor help to investigate or solve the issue. For the first point is commitment and clarity from the top management. The internal auditor should make a guidance that give a clear that any concern are welcome and will be treated seriously. The employee is welcoming to talk about any problem or wrongdoing in the organization that can give any negative impact in the future. The top management will not take any action if the employee can provide a strong reason for the suspicious of the wrongdoing. The second point is the structure of a guidance. The internal auditor can ensure the guidance can be easily to use and understand so that the employee is clear as they know how they should take their concerns forward. The guidance also needs to include the complete step on how the employee can make the proper report to the wrongdoing action in the organizations. The guidance should indicate where the employee can seek for advice to avoid any confusion among the employee. The next point is reassuring the potential whistleblowers. The internal auditor also can help to give the guidance to make clear that it is an offense for management and staff to victimize the employee that want to raise their complaint and issues. An employee will be subjected to disciplinary action if they have been found that they have a purpose that give rise to malicious and unfounded intention. For the last point is whistleblowing to external bodies. The internal auditor can recommend encouraging companies to cooperate with the independent professional association to handle the issue. These two committees will help each other to solve issue arise together and can prevent a company from covering up the issues and the unethical action against the whistleblower. This is also one of the effective methods to ensure the problem raised by the whistleblower will take a serious action. So I think that's all from my part. I will pass to the next presenter.
What is the internal auditor's role and contribution in examining or investigating the issues? It is to commit to investigate all matters confidentially. It is important for internal auditors to keep any information, knowledge or evidence given by the clients to themselves. Only individuals who has authorization can access to the information. Confidentiality can prevent the information from being misused to do illegal activity. Individuals without authorization can misuse the information for personal interests or harm the business or organization. Information which lost its confidentiality can be reason for the bullies to bully the whistleblower and thus they cannot finish their work peacefully. Teaming up with the bullies in a project may lead to discouragement and lack of cooperation. As a result, the work cannot be properly prepared. Next, give the recommendations for further action and liaise with the police if the wrongdoing is alleged. The reported wrongdoing may threaten the life of individual whether inside or outside of the organization, especially the whistleblower. The recommendations given must be appropriate with the situation. There are circumstances which a drastic move needs to be considered to solve the issues. There is potential the offenders know regarding the reports by whistleblower and prepare strategy to make a counter-attack to them. The whistleblower will receive more counter-attack if the case still not end. A drastic move may reduce the counter-attack towards the whistleblower by others. Internal auditors should keep up to date with the whistleblower. This can ensure internal auditor do not miss any important information. Any information received by whistleblower can be considered important, which act as variables in solving the case. And outdated information may consist of many errors and irrelevant for making next move. If false information is given, there are possibilities the company will get a bad image which will initiate new problems in the future. Whistleblower may lose their current jobs due to wrong evidence. The reason is to ensure the organization can stop or prevent for any controversy going further. And up-to-date information is more accurate and can ensure the plan is working and minimize the rate of failure to solve case.
So for the last section of our video presentation is about the whistleblowing legislation in Malaysia. According to the article, whistleblowing provision in Malaysia is basically contained in section 174, subsection 8 of the Companies Act 1965, where auditors are placed under obligation to report to the registrar of the company breaches of company law. However, the legislation does not provide would-be whistleblowers with any sort of security. So, there are two key components of the whistleblowing provision which include, firstly, a mandatory duty for auditors to report to relevant authorities breaches of security law and listing requirements. This requirement supplements existing requirements in the Companies Act 1965. Next, protection against retaliation for specific categories of persons, namely chief executive officers, company secretaries, internal auditors, and chief financial officers who report to the authorities on cases of fraud and corporate wrongdoing. The protection against retaliation includes protection against discharge, discrimination, demotion, and suspension by the company on the whistleblower. So, with that, that's all from me. Thank you.
As for the conclusions, there will always activities that has been carried out in wrong way in every organization. These unethical activities will not end if there were no whistleblower in an organization. The whistleblower can put a stop to these wrongdoing activities. Whistleblowing can help in correcting the situation by sharpening the rules and reducing the crime rate within the organization. This will bring back motivation to employees to go to work in good surroundings.